Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bowhunt or Die. Justin, I can tell you one thing, I'm feeling much better than I was feeling yesterday when I had to leave to go home sick, but I'll tell you what.
Yeah, now you're breathing all over me, so I'm going to get sick. So if I'm not in the office next week, everyone knows why.
Well, I am feeling significantly better. Maybe it's just because I'm leaving for elk hunting next week, or maybe it's because we finally got some cool temperatures here in the morning.
Yeah, we had a couple days of cool temperatures, and now it looks like it's going to get warm again. It's going to be like mid-80s again next week. But I tell you what, fall is definitely approaching. We have had a couple cool mornings. And one thing I know we've been noticing on our trail cameras is, you know, these bucks are already hitting scrapes. I mean, we know that they're going to work licking branches pretty much all year long. But, I mean, I will say this is the most real early scrape activity I've seen in a while. I mean, we're finding, you know, licking branches broken off. We've got trail camera pictures we'll show you of bucks literally on their hind legs, still in velvet, already checking the scrapes out. So I don't know if that bodes well for this fall or not, but it sure gets me excited.
It gets me excited too, you know, Justin. Now, switching gears here, we had a little bit of serious drama this weekend on social media. It seems like any time that I was on my phone or flipping through the internet and looking at our forum and blog and so forth, it seems like Under Armour and cut somebody on their staff, which kind of was a little bit of a shock to me when I read it. What about you?
Well, I mean, for those of you who have read my blog post on bowhunting.com, I'm sure you understand my feelings on it all. I mean, it's just kind of a sticky situation, you know, overall. I think it's unfortunate for Under Armour. I think maybe a knee-jerk reaction on their part that they didn't think all the way through, that they maybe wishing they thought else, you know, thought of doing something differently. But I'll tell you, it's encouraging to see hunters out there kind of band together. And, you know, when you have a company in the hunting industry that starts making decisions based on outside pressures from anti-hunters, it certainly sets a bad precedent for everybody in this industry. And, you know, I think hunters are letting their voices be heard. You know, and speaking of which, there's a lot of other companies out there that are kind of taking advantage of the situation to say, hey, if you guys want to, you know, get rid of your Under Armour stuff and, you know, get into some different clothing or some different apparel, you know, there's a lot of great sales going on out there right now. ScentLock Todd is doing 50% off. You know, you go to their website, scentlock.com, you can buy pretty much anything in their store at half off. So, I mean, guys, season is coming. You know, even if you're not switching out of Under Armour to something else, I mean, that's a heck of a deal. They make some great clothing, so, you know, be sure you check it out.
Well, and I think with that being said, Justin, you know, the key is, you know, us as hunters and, you know, as a community, I mean, we do need to stick together. Sure. I mean, you know what, a lot of times, you know, whether it's on the forum or whatever, I mean, I know even sometimes I get pressure where people say, oh, geez, Todd, you know, you think crossbow hunting's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, you know what? Sure. We all like to hunt. I don't care if you got a rifle in your hand, a bow in your hand, a recurve. I mean, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what type of hunting you like to do. We all like to do the same thing. So keep that in mind, guys, when maybe you see somebody doing something that maybe you wouldn't do. That does not necessarily mean that we shouldn't all stay banded together.
Yeah, and I guess just one thing, you know, before we kind of wrap this segment up is, you know, when I say that the whole situation is unfortunate, you know, part of what I'm talking about is, you know, we as hunters, as Todd mentioned, we really need to stick together, to work together, to further the, you know, the sport of hunting and to further, you know, the way that the non-hunting public views us. And, you know, as nice as it is to see hunters kind of sticking together, you know, sometimes you wish that we would stick together for other causes, maybe more just causes that are going to help further the sport of hunting rather than just trying to bash a company within our industry. Not saying that I support what they did, but, you know, sometimes I feel like, you know, we turn our attention to things that really in the big scheme of things don't matter a ton when there are important decisions or elections or things that, you know, people should be campaigning for, you know, in the hunting industry. They tend to kind of get lost. So, you know, just encourage everybody to think about that, you know, when you guys are out, you know, representing hunting, you know, as we think about it when we're putting this show together. So, Todd, speaking of hunting, you know, kind of moving off of that, we do have our first
That's why we're here, right?
Official big game harvest of the season, of the fall season, I should say. We got Troy Spolum out in Wyoming.
Flight number 1, Chicago O'Hare to Denver. Then we have a layover over there, and we'll get on a pond hopper and be in Gillette. All right, so here we go. It's August 14th. Dustin just came and picked us up from the Gillette Airport. Long morning of travel for Dad and I. Had a couple different flights to get on and hopped on a pond hopper to get into Gillette. So we're here, we're heading over to the lodge. Actually, no, first stop, we're gonna go and do some scouting, right? Yep. We're gonna check out the spots we'll be hunting tomorrow. Dustin's had some stealth cams out, so he's got some pics of some good bucks, but you haven't checked them, what, in a week or so? So we're gonna check those out, do some scouting, and then we'll head out to the lodge, unpack all of our gear we shipped out last week, shoot the Matthews, and then grill out, relax, have fun at camp, and get back out in the morning and start our 2016 antelope hunt. So here we go. We're excited, pumped up. My dad and I are ready to rock. Put some goats on the ground this week. Bow hunt or die. Well, good morning. It is August 15th, which means opening day here in Wyoming for the archery antelope season. And I am up and ready to rock. Definitely excited. Got a good night's sleep, but didn't take much to get up. Already went over, got breakfast, just showered up real quick, and now getting all my black put on. So gonna get the bows, load up the truck, get some food, pack a cooler, and we're gonna be on our way. All right, so I'm set up, and wow, does this feel weird. Bow hunting in August, here in Wyoming, set up in the blind, ready to whack a big old antelope buck. So I'm kind of right at the top of a little stream that's running to my left. So Dustin said they're coming from the alfalfa field that's out to my right and coming off the hills back behind us. So they're kind of working back and forth. He's had a stealth cam set up through here, so he's got some pics. And I've already had easily 20 antelope in front of me. Now there's a bachelor group of bucks, if that's what they call them. Right out to the left here, about 50 yards across the stream up to my left. I can't make a shot up there, but it doesn't look like any of them are shooters.
those are shooters. So I've held off. Regrettingly so, I think, so far. But we'll see. Long day ahead. Still a couple days. You know, this is only day one, morning one, so. But it's only 8 o'clock. Gonna stick it out. They're gonna keep coming through here. Hopefully they don't run through here like that. Sheesh. They are really, really finicky with this water for some reason. Probably because it's an ambush point for hunters like myself. So. As soon as they cross that creek, they are running. Oh, man. That is so disappointing. Bummer. Tried whistling, tried haying, tried clicking. Tried nothing, and that doesn't work either. Okay, so hasn't been anything around for, last half hour or so. So what I'm going to do is pull the stakes and turtle shell walk this blind about, 15, 20 yards south towards the fence, because they are coming up, they are crossing, and they are running right past me, but they are stopping right before the fence briefly. But that shot for me is like 38 and it's quartering away. So what I'm going to try and do is get a little bit more parallel with the fence and give myself a chance. So even if they come back this way, I go under the fence, and normally when they do that, they're not like booking. So hopefully I can get a shot this evening. According to my dad, he says there's still ones up to the north. I know there's a bunch out in the alfalfa, so hopefully they'll come back through here and don't mind the blind moving a little bit. This ought to be interesting. Gotta move a cooler, a camera, a bow, a seat, a backpack, and carpet that's laying in here. Let's hope that works. It'd be pretty cool if it does. I'm gonna have to reapply face paint again, but it's worth it. Get the sweat off. That may be all she wrote. They did not like the movement of the blind. But my dad can see back behind me. It's had a truck pulled out a ways off. But scared him off. I don't know. I'm thinking it's the blind, but who knows? Oh. Hip. Farmer just dropped off a load of steers into this field. Now there's my luck right there. And that right there is the luck my father and I are having. It's 4 o'clock. Just checking in real quick. I got 20 minutes of SD card left. Seen so many antelope this morning, so much footage, that I'm running out, and I can't delete them because they're big, huge segments of all footage. So, a couple hours left. See antelope working out. They're getting harassed. We got cattle back here. who knows? They don't like my blind placement, so maybe not the best strategy, but I just gotta get lucky. So keep it short and sweet. Go down. Go down. Down. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. I can't believe I pulled that together. They came again, they panicked with the blind. I went out and around, and I had my HHA set for 25, and I believe he was just past that at about 30. And so I hit a little low, but every one of them was freaking out, did exactly what I thought they were gonna do, trying to get under the fence, kind of holding each other up. I had to wait till he cleared. I mean, they're all crossing one another, but yes. Yes, 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 yes. Bow hunt or die. My dad just got one. I just shot one, and he is laying dead in the alfalfa field. Whew, he only ran, okay, maybe 100. Oh, but I think I hard shotted him just a little low, but should be 2 antelope down, opening morning. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, all you guys. Whew. Awesome. That's so cool. Thank you, Bo.
All right, here we go. So I'm pretty sure I saw the arrow stick in him after he jumped the fence, so it's probably fell out down over there, another 20 yards, but he hopped right over here, Rich, and I think I hit him about 25 yards. Good thing I moved the blind, because I would have had no chance. So worked out for me. Oh no, somehow it broke. It's got blood all the way in the veins. I think it went in about this far somehow. It didn't go all the way through and just blood splattered. He's pretty nice, right?
Are you serious right now?
Who cares about that? Look at the headgear.
Is that?
That's a stud. Look at those. There's a tongue
All
in.
right. Nice goat. That's where it went in.
Look at the hole the double cross means.
He's pretty nice, right?
You might be the next one.
All right, so here he is, and he's a little bigger than I expected. Both Dustin and Rich, when we walked up to him, said that's a nice goat. And I'm no expert, so I don't know really what he's going to score, but I'm extremely happy with him. My last 2 goats, well, one was really young and one was half dead that I had to finish off last year. So it's been a hell of an experience up here. I love coming up here, and this tops it off. This is morning 1. I had 60 plus goats go running past me. So I finally moved the blind up close to the fence. That's where they seemed to stop when they tried to cross. That's what I did. That's exactly what happened to this guy. A little young one cut in front of him, gave me just enough time to get an arrow off. I hit him really low. He was a little further than I thought, just with all the chaos, but that new NAP double cross really did the job. So super happy with my halon. Brand new bow for me, shooting great. Everything just came together. Love it up here. August 15th, opening day, and I'm done, tagged out with a big old goat. Bow hunt or die.
You know, Justin, one of the things I like about Troy's hunt is the fact that, you know what, when things aren't going your way, move, change, do something different. I mean, the reality is, guys, whether it's in life or whether you're deer hunting or no matter what type of hunting you're doing, get up and do something different. You know what? I like the fact that he did the turtle shell, moved the blind, and you know what? In the end, it ended up paying out. There's been too many times I know when I've sat in a tree stand, scratching my head going, gosh, I wish I was in that tree over there, or I wish I was in that blind over there, and the reality is sometimes you just got to get down and move.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, bow hunting is a game of inches, and you know, sometimes you got to be in the right spot at the right time. So, you know, congratulations to Troy. That was a great hunt. You know, you guys have heard us talk a lot about this new NAP broadhead that they just came out with, which is the Spitfire double cross. You know, this is the first harvest on our team with using that broadhead. Obviously, it did a great job. It put a huge hole in that animal. He didn't go very far. Everybody always wants to talk about penetration and getting a pass through. I mean, I talked to Troy last night. I mean, it was a pretty severe quartering shot. I mean, I won't say severe, but pretty good in quartering away, and it did hit that offside leg when it went through that antelope, which is why, you know, ultimately it didn't penetrate all the way through. But I know, from looking at NAP's Facebook page, they're seeing a ton of positive results. Other guys and gals out there, you know, shooting antelope with these double crosses. So Todd and I are definitely looking forward to putting them to the test here before too long.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, unfortunately, my first couple hunts, I won't be able to use them because mechanical broadheads aren't allowed. But when it comes to whitetail hunting, I'm definitely going to be using that.
Now there's an issue that hunters should rally around and try to get some of these laws out there changed. I mean, whether it's, you know, not being able to use mechanical broadheads or not being able to use lighted nocks.
And let me rephrase that. In the state of Oregon, you can actually use a mechanical broadhead, but only on, I think it was the western gray squirrel or something like that. So.
Oh yeah, well you can't use it on an elk. But I mean, states that have, you know, no mechanical broadheads or no lighted nocks, or like here in Illinois, we have to have our bow completely in a case, you know, when we're in a vehicle. There are a lot of kind of ridiculous laws out there that, you know, it'd be nice to see hunters come together to get some of these changed. But anyways, it was a great hunt from Troy. You know, congratulations to him. Guys, next up, what we're going to do is we're going to bring you a couple of hit list segments. You know, obviously our team's out there, you know, planting food plots, checking trail cameras, hanging stands, and really getting ready for the upcoming fall. So let's check in with some of those guys now.
Hi guys, Tim Conley here. Welcome to a rainy day in central Indiana. After not having hardly any rain all summer long here on my farm, all of a sudden here halfway through the month of August, we've had over 7 inches so far. So that's going to play havoc with getting some fall food plots in the ground, but we'll play it by ear and get out what we can. I was wanting to bring you a hit list this year, but I really haven't had that many bucks showing up on camera this year. My location, that's not unusual. But instead of doing a hit list, I'm just going to tell you about one buck that I've been chasing for a few years. His name's Triple Double. Well, as I think about Triple Double, and about 4 years ago, back in 2012, I shot the biggest buck that I've ever killed with a bow with my Z7 on November the 13th. Obviously, this guy here was the buzz of the trail cameras, so I never really paid much attention to the buck that I now call Triple Double. So that brings us to 2013, whenever we got the first recognizable pictures of him. Had a lot of other good bucks that year, and so he really never developed a name. But we watched him throughout the season and knew he was a good buck. 2014 rolls around, and as a 4-year-old, Triple Double was all over the stealth cams. Had 3 brow tines on one side, 2 on the other, and the name Triple Double just stuck with him. But toward the end of October in 2014, Triple Double was all over my stealth cams. He was keeping me awake at night thinking about him. He was working a horizontal rub that I'd put out and really giving me some close-up pictures of that rack. On November the 2nd, I got a really cool clip over in my south field of Triple Double working a scrape and an owl flying out of the tree right over his back. It was really cool. Little did I know that later on that morning, over on the other side of the farm, that I was going to get the opportunity that I've been waiting on. I've probably taken that shot again 1,000 times in my mind and drilled him every time I've taken it. But the fact remains, I missed him. and you cannot imagine what that puts into the pursuit of an animal that you're after you've already missed him once. I hunted that buck hard for the remainder of the 2014 season, but never saw him again from the stand. I ended up not filling my buck tag for the first time in 20 years. Triple Double stayed pretty close to my food plots after the 2014 season, but I was not able to locate his sheds in early 2015. 2015 turned into a long summer. It was a waiting game with the stealth cams, waiting on Triple Double to show me some velvet footage. Finally, in August, he showed up. Although it looked like Triple Double had lost a little bit in the brow tine area, the mass for this 5-year-old was pretty impressive. Season began, I hunted this deer hard, probably as hard as I've ever hunted a deer. I'd never seen a deer from the stand. The only time I laid my eyes on him was one morning, late October. I jumped in the truck, was heading to work, just turned out of the driveway, crossed the bridge, and there he stood, right in the middle of the road. Didn't run off, stood there and twisted his head around just to let me see. Well, always hardware he had up top, and then just slowly walked across the road. 2015 ended up being year 2 that I didn't fill my buck tag. Early 2016 was a very mild winter here in central Indiana. Without deer needing that extra fuel for a frigid winter, my soybean food plots lasted long enough to where Triple Double sheds fell off. And then for the first time, I got both these sheds. I ended up having an official score his rack. He got a lot of mass. If we calculated in an 18-inch spread, it put him a 1/4 inch under a 160-inch deer. So looking forward to what he might be this year. Well, that brings us to right now, a month and a half away from Indiana opener. Still don't have any trail cam pictures of Triple Double. With the mild winter that we had last year, I'm anxious to see whether he put on a few more inches this year or whether old age is taking a few inches off of him. All I can do is sit and wait. With heavy hunting pressure around my farm and the declining deer herd here in central Indiana, you can bet that the big ones don't get big accidentally here. Makes for a tough buck to hunt, but you can bet I'll be out there this season trying to get him. Bow hunt or die.
Hey everyone, guess what? It's hit list time. Up here grooming some of my bucks and possibly making room on the walls for some other ones if I get that lucky. But I've been watching some good bucks for the last week and a half in the evenings. I've been glassing those bucks, trying to get a little bit of footage, but I can't get any closer than 1,000 yards. So trying to film them is kind of a challenge, but it's fun watching them. And that led me to putting a stealth cam out where I've been seeing them, and I got some amazing photos of some really good bucks up close. First one is a big tall 8. I've got shed off of him from last year. I went out and found that, and he's still hanging within 400 or 500 yards of where I found the shed. He's gotten taller this year. He's got more massive. He's carrying on that same short brow tine, but it's pretty cool getting a shed and then possibly killing that buck. That happened on this guy right here. I've got the match set from the year before. I ended up sticking an arrow in him the next year, so I've got high hopes. But I'm calling that big 8 stud. He's hanging with another buck that's a beauty. I call him Slash. He's got a big blade on his front beam right here, and one little point on the other side making him a 9. Definitely seeing some genetics carried down. My son killed a big 9, scored 163 probably 3 years ago within 1,000 yards, and them 2 bucks almost are identical other than the blade on the one side. But I'm real excited about that. He hangs out with stud a lot, but tends to veer off on his own. They're going to be separating here pretty soon. It's going to be interesting to see which one of those is going to be the dominant buck in the area. But that's the first 2 that I hope to run into, and I got a couple more I'm going to talk about here in a minute, and I'm going to show you some pictures of those. Okay, I've got 2 more bucks to talk about. They're both 10 points. One of them I call him Upper 10. He's been hanging around with Slash and Stud, but he kind of stays away from them. He's just in the same area, but doesn't right group with them for some reason. His frame's not as big, but he's going to score good because he's a 10 versus an 8 and 9 like the other two. Really good buck. If he walks by and gives me a shot, I'm all over him. He's a dandy. I'm going to call him upper 10. And then the other one, I'm going to kind of thank him for. You found him, didn't you?
Yeah.
He comes home off of night shifts, and he's going by a particular spot in the mornings on our lease. And he come home and he told me, he said, Dad, for the last 2 or 3 mornings, there's been these 2 bucks across the road, kind of the same spot. And I kind of had it in my head a spot they might be using, so me and him went in there, and we looked around, and we found big tracks in this one little, I don't know, there's like a pathway through the woods, and there was big tracks all over it. So we put a stealth cam right there, and I checked it this morning, and sure enough, I had like 1,200 photos, and I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be a lot of raccoons and everything else in it. It was all bucks and just a few does. There's one particular 10. I call him Poser because I've got like 1,000 pictures of him in this last week. But he's gonna be a good one too, so thanks to Dalton on that, and maybe that'll be one of them that he'll kill. So,
I hope so.
Yeah, that's all we can do is hope. So anyway, we're gonna have a little bit more to talk about here in a minute. We're gonna continue practicing for a while. Okay, last buck, and I love you too, Roxy. Last buck I'm going to talk about is the one I call Stubby. I found his shed last shed season. I think you guys seen that on the show. He wasn't real big a frame, but it was a heavy, massive, just a smaller rack. I got a game cam picture of him in December, or video actually. I had him come in like 3 times, full rack. He came in the next day, I think it was around December 9th, and he had a half a rack. Kind of concerned about him because he lost it so quick. I never did find the side that he lost first, but still looking for him right now. I haven't found him, but he is definitely high on my list. If he comes by this year, he's a 6x5. Probably gonna have to take him. And then there's always those other bucks. Got a lot of trail cam pictures and videos after the season last year, so there's always those. And for now, that's my hit list. Could always be something else pop up. So excuse us right now, we're gonna go put out some more trail cams.
Welcome to Missouri on a beautiful 60-degree Christmas and July morning. We do not get weather like this very often this time of year, so we're going to take advantage of it, run all our cameras, get some food plots going. It's hit list season, folks. That's right. One of my favorite times of year. We get to figure out what deer we're going to chase this fall. So we're going to take you along with us today on the full run. We're going to talk about what deer we'll be chasing.
Alright guys, Ken Petty and Dalton Cook on the mower. We're getting ready to put this in a Heartland Wildlife plot. I don't know, this is Dalton's plot, so I don't know what he's putting in this thing yet. But this weekend our goal is to get all our plots mowed down. As you can see, Dalton's already started on it. We tested our soil last year and it was good. So the mower's working good. Dalton just got done sharpening the blades on it. As you can see in this plot, that's going to be forested trail and rack maker. We left a lot of trees in this plot. The reason is deer feel more secure with a little cover around it. It's mostly grown up CRP all around this plot, and then we got this block of timber on 2 sides of it. So just with the added comfort of these trees in the plot, deer will be moving more in earlier in the evening and later in the morning because they feel more secure down here. The ridge up here above us, so this is kind of down the hole, surrounded on two sides of timber, and then thicker CRP all around it. And with these trees in here, it's going to be phenomenal. These smaller saplings make great straight trees. So far our cameras this summer have been doing pretty good, but I'm going to tell you about 4 or 5 of them that I'm really going to be going after, and then once Dalton's done mowing, he can come up here and tell you about a few he's got on some of his other farms. So I'm going to start out on a farm I've been hunting for quite a few years and been getting nice bucks on there. And I didn't hunt it much last year because the biggest bucks out there only looked 3.5 years old. But this year I got 3 of them that are at least 4.5, maybe 1 or 2 that are 5.5. But first one we're calling Rocky. He's just a cool looking deer. He's got a lot of mass on him. He's an older age deer, so really going to be going after him. He's got a nice kicker point coming off his G2 or G3, I can't remember, but he's really massive. He's a great looking deer. The deer he's running with, we're calling Hook, and you can see why in the picture. One of his brow tines just completely curls back and hooks behind his head. He's going to be cool. Hopefully I can get a shot at him because that'll be a perfect handle for me to take trophy photos with him. But another deer on that farm, I'm just going to call Dinger. He's just a real nice 9-pointer, and all of his points are super tall. He might just be 3.5. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look at him a little more. But I think he's 4.5, so he's going to make the hit list, but I'll make that decision if I ever get a shot at him, if I'll really take him or not. But he'd be hard to pass. But he's a really nice deer. Then another farm we got, there's a deer on there that I've been chasing for the past 3 years, and I know he's old, but he's never put on anything more than an 8-point frame. So we've been calling him Ocho. He's been an 8-pointer for 3 or 4 years, but he's old. He got a little more tine length this year, and he got a lot wider. But he's just a big bodied deer, and I'd love to put an arrow through him. He's going to be a fun one to chase. He's a very predictable deer. He always has been, but it seems like every time I'm in the stand, I don't see him. And then another deer he is running with, we're really excited about. We're not sure if we have any history with this deer. We'll have to go back through some old trail camera pictures, but me and Dalton have been talking about it, and we don't know if we've seen him before, if he's a new deer that moved in, or just a smaller buck we've had the past few years and he just blew up. But we're calling him Crazy T. His G2 on one of his sides, it's got multiple kicker points off of it. He's just a big frame deer, long tines, decent mass, and he's running around with Ocho, so early season he might be predictable too, so we're going to spend a lot of time after him.
Gonna keep the hit list short this year. Got plenty of deer to chase, but I'm gonna keep the list of just deer that we have definite history with, years in some cases of history with. Start the list off with Highboy. He's a split G2 8-pointer with a bladed G2 on the other side from his split. Great looking buck. Love to get a tag wrapped around him. We have Old Man, who, as his name implies, is 8, 9, maybe 10 years old. I don't know. This deer is super old. Clubs for many beams coming out of his head. Great looking deer. Love to outsmart an old buck like that, so he's up there on the list also. And we have the 10, who's named because he's a 10 with, probably 160-inch frame or so. Great looking deer. Love to get a hold of him as well. On that same farm is Skyscraper. Skyscraper is a monster framed 8-point, split G2s, kicker points. Great deer, years of history with this buck. So we'll be after him as well. And then just down the road I picked up a new lease, and a buck called Ace stepped out one night when I was watching the bean field. And you're going to see in the footage here that this buck is pretty unique. He is a mainframe 10-point with a club drop tine and a huge unicorn point, 10 or 12-inch unicorn point. So that's just a rarity. He has to be on the list even though I don't have history with him, just because of the fact that that is a once-in-a-lifetime buck, and he's living in a little patch of timber and a sea of soybeans. And I talked to Rector, the master of small patch of timber deer hunting, and we kind of got a plan worked out. So if I can get a north wind early season while he's patternable, I'm going to try to get in there and get an arrow in him. You have to stick with us as the season progresses to see how that goes down. Then I have Justin. Justin's the buck that was on the list last year for being just 10 points. And this year I'm going to keep the name Justin, but he might as well be Justin 2.0 because he's closer to 20 points. Huge inside kicker at the base of his G2 on his right side. I mean, just a awesome buck. Kickers everywhere off of his bases, and I think he's a mainframe 6x6, so we're really hoping to get a hold of that deer. And as you can see in this footage, he showed himself quite a bit last year, so hopefully he makes the same mistakes and stays visible where I can get on him and get a Carbon Express arrow ran through him. So anyway, should be a great year this year, guys. Stick with us, bow hunt or die.
Justin, I'll tell you what, by looking at this hit list, I mean, there's some nice bucks floating around here for sure. Now, I will say Tim Conley's story with his buck, I mean, that's a great looking deer. I mean,
it's a heartbreaker to miss that deer.
That's a heartbreaker.
I'm glad he actually sent that footage in. I forgot he had that on film. You know, a lot of people would probably delete it and pretend it never happened, but you know, he put it out there for everybody to see.
And that's going to be a great story to continue to follow. I mean, who knows? I know he's going to be hard after that deer this fall. I mean, that's all he ever talks about. So I'm hoping all the hard work that he's been putting into that property, I don't see any reason why that buck shouldn't come strolling back in there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he'll show up. Now, whether he comes strolling in front of Tim,
he may be a little more. He may be a little more on his toes when he comes to his property after that. But next up, I mean, you know, I have to admit, I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually brush their deer. I know people take care of their deer mounts. I have to admit,
I wasn't sure if Dan is like trolling us. Is he doing that as a joke, or do people actually like have a comb that they use to brush their
I want to know. So we're going to post something on Facebook about this too, because I want to know how many people actually comb their deer. I want to know.
Fair enough. Well, Dan's definitely got some great bucks he's chasing. You know, Dalton and Kent, they've got some great deer as usual over there in Missouri. And, you know, like we talk about every year, it's way easier to get trail camera pictures of these deer and film them out in a soybean field during the summertime than it is to actually kill them.
It always looks so easy
once hunting season comes. So, I mean, some of these deer are going to disappear and you're not going to see them again until next fall. You know, so who knows what's going to happen, but it's certainly fun to speculate and dream. It's what kind of keeps us motivated, you know, as we work into the hunting seasons here. So good luck to all those guys. And Todd, actually, we got 2 more hit list segments.
Changing things up, guys. Changing things up. I mean, what we're going to do to keep you guys on your toes, too, if you want to be able to see the bucks that I'm chasing this fall, you're going to have to log on to the website. As always, I'm horrible at naming my deer, so we've got a segment that's going to be basically web exclusive only. So on Friday, tune into the website. You'll be able to see the bucks that I'm chasing. And more importantly, help me get these bucks named. Yeah, who else hit list?
We've got Tim and Troy have got a hit list segment for us as well. They actually, you know, do a really nice job of explaining, you know, some of their food plots, why they put them in certain areas, and how they're going to hopefully use them to try to harvest a couple of the deer that they've got history with. So if you guys log on to bowhunting.com, go into the Bowhunt or Die, there's going to be a section called Web Exclusives. We're going to start posting some of the additional footage in there that just doesn't make it into the show. We've only got so much time. We have a lot of footage, a lot of team members. So definitely check that each week. We're hopefully going to have some new cool segments for you in there. And Todd, next up, we're actually going to do a little bit of a crossbow safety segment. You know, as crossbows, we talked about it earlier, just continue to get more popular. You know, it is important to remind yourself that, you know, these are weapons and there are certain safety protocols you should follow when you're out there in the woods. A lot of times, you know, like Mike Pierce, we've got, you know, our kids out using crossbows as their first weapon to try to harvest an animal. So let's check that out now.
A lot of deer hunters across the country are using crossbows more and more, so we figured we'd go over some basic safety rules of the crossbow. You're going to want to inspect the limbs, the string, make sure all the bolts are tight. The first thing you want to make sure is that this thing is in good working order. The cocking devices, if you have one, a hand crank, those work very effectively at getting the string back with minimal effort. And of course the cocking rope, that's probably what most of you are going to use. Place your foot in the stirrup, little notch. You want to make sure your rope sits in that. I'm going to bring my hooks down. Now my hooks, and so I'm just going to stand up, cock the crossbow. On this particular model, When I came back to full draw, it automatically engaged the safety. For all intents and purposes, you want to treat this like a loaded weapon right now. The string is back, there's a lot of force in there, so you only ever want to point this in a safe direction. So you don't want to ever reach above the handguard when this crossbow is drawn back. Always keep your hand underneath. This string coming forward can really damage your fingers if they're up in there. Different crossbows recommend different nocks. It's up to you to figure out which one is used for the crossbow that you have, and make sure that you've got the correct bolt. We're going to go to load the crossbow, and I'm going to put it under the bolt holder. I'm going to push it all the way back until that seats nice and snug. We recommend actually is shooting the crossbow to decock it. Make sure you use a field point. Load your crossbow, stand back. It's like any other shooting situation, and the crossbow is now decocked and safe for transport. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can check us out at lancasterarchery.com.
Well, those are some great tips from Lancaster Archery about crossbows. Justin, here we are. I mean, September is next week.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm just totally ready.
I'm not ready at all.
Yes,
That's
you are.
okay.
What are you
I'm
talking
biding
about?
my
We were
time.
out the other day.
We have one tree stand. No, one. And there's 3 of us hunting the property, so we're definitely not ready.
We did. Okay, fine. We have one tree stand hung with a great killer setup. Yes. The other spot, with the amount of daytime footage we're getting in it, we know all we have to do is go put a stand there. You're getting nervous for no reason at all.
I'm not nervous at all.
You just said you weren't ready. We're ready.
I didn't say I was nervous that I wasn't ready.
Okay,
I just said I wasn't ready. I'll be ready. Don't worry about it. So guys, next up we want to take just a couple seconds to thank the people who sent in their trophy photos for this week's episode. John Wagner.
Michael Cole.
Travis Bechtold.
Adam Leonard.
And Mickey Weiss.
Hey guys, those are some great trophies. Make sure you keep sending those in. Now, couple of things not to forget. Number one, if you want to save 50% off of ScentLock gear, get over there right now. Justin, is there a coupon code for that or something they got to type in?
No, sir. Just go to scentlock.com, save 50%. It's that easy.
It's that easy. Make sure you do it.
Yeah, so guys, that's all the action we got for this week's show. We got another show coming up in 2 weeks, and then after that, we transition into weekly shows from basically here on through the rest of the hunting season. So hopefully we've got a good fall lined up for you. We got a lot of animals hopefully going to be hitting the ground. Todd's going elk hunting, Richardson's going elk hunting, Tyler Rector's going elk hunting. Hopefully we get at least one elk on the ground, and Josh Fletcher between the 4 of you guys.
We got 4 of us going.
Yeah, that's all we got for this week, guys. Make sure to check back
the website. Don't forget to go to the website. Help me name my bucks that I'm chasing this fall, and don't forget to start paying attention to all the extra footage we're going to start putting up on the website as well. So.
All right, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bow Hunt or Die.
For more exciting action, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and receive live updates from our team members, as well as the latest happenings in the bow hunting and archery world. Be sure to share your photos, stories, and experiences as well. And don't forget to pick up your official bowhunting.com and Bow Hunt or Die gear by visiting bowhunting.com/gear. We have a full selection of hats, shirts, decals, wristbands, and much more.
Congratulations, everybody. Great photos. That's all we got for this week. Next episode in 2 weeks, and after that, we go to weeklies. So.
Hey guys, those are some great trophies. Now remember, don't forget, remember. Right, let's do that.
What just happened?
Go back to being Scorpio. Scorpion.